You've been taught that ego is a weakness, that you must dissolve it, humble it, silence it. But what if I told you ego isn't your enemy? It's your only weapon in a world ruled by power, not the arrogant delusion, not the childish pride. Ego as strategy, ego as survival, ego as the prince inside you, waiting to take control. Every person you see posturing, performing, pretending, they're not trying to be authentic, they're trying to win. The moment you stop trying to win, you lose. That's what most people miss. They think virtue is its own reward. They think humility will save them, but it won't, because the world doesn't reward the silent, it rewards the strategic. And the greatest strategy of all is to become the person no one can control. You wake up and feel anxious. Why? Because you've been taught to care what others think. You've been trained like a dog to beg for praise, to shrink under criticism, and they call it maturity. But the prince inside you knows better. He watches silently while others chase approval. He builds in the shadows. He doesn't ask to be liked. He makes himself impossible to ignore. You see, most people misunderstand Machiavelli. They think he was cold, cruel, ruthless, but he wasn't telling you to be evil. He was telling you how to survive. And the first lesson is this: you must protect your ego, not worship it, not flaunt it. Protect it, because your ego is the map, the compass. It tells you who you are when the world tries to erase you. Do you want to be a good person or a powerful one? You can't be both, not in the eyes of the world, because once you choose power, they'll call you dangerous, and they'll be right. You are dangerous because you're no longer predictable. You're no longer soft. You're no longer tame. People follow those who believe in themselves, not those who apologize for existing. The prince doesn't say, "Am I good enough?" He says, "Am I ready to strike?" He prepares in silence, smiles in public, cuts in private. That's strategy. That's ego at its highest form, controlled, not inflated, not denied, directed. Every time you walk into a room and feel out of place, remember this: no one belongs anywhere more than you if you decide you do. That's the prince. He doesn't wait for permission. He walks in as if he owns the room, because eventually he will, and if not this room, the next one, because he never stops moving, never stops sharpening, never stops watching. The people around you are acting. Every handshake is a calculation. Every compliment is a test. Every smile hides a motive. If you believe they're all sincere, you've already lost. But if you understand that the game is always being played, then you begin to rise. You stop reacting and start directing. A prince doesn't reveal his full hand. He speaks less than he knows, promises less than he can give. He keeps his enemies guessing and his allies useful. He shows mercy when it buys loyalty. He shows strength when it buys fear. He never gives either for free. You've been taught that honesty is a virtue, but raw honesty is weakness in a world of liars. Truth in the hands of the powerful is a weapon in the hands of the weak. It's a confession. The prince understands this. He doesn't lie unnecessarily, but he never bleeds for strangers. He protects what is his. He controls the narrative. That is strategy. When you feel small, when you doubt yourself, when the world looks down on you, good. That's fuel. Let the doubt carve you. Let it teach you to build in silence. The most dangerous man is the one who has no need to prove himself, because the moment he strikes, no one saw it coming. People don't change because they want to. They change because they must. And the prince within you will never rise until the old version of you dies. The people pleaser, the overthinker, the apologizer, that part of you must be buried. And from that grave, a strategist is born. Most will never understand you once you stop bending. They'll say you're distant, arrogant, cold. Let them, because you no longer live for their comfort. You live for control of your time, your mind, your life. That's not ego out of control. It's ego in command. Every strong empire has a spine of steel. So should you. They'll say you're too much, too intense, too strategic. That's how you know you're on the right path. Weak people call strength arrogance. Scared people call confidence a threat. You were not born to be soft. You were born to rule your own mind. The prince never wastes energy on revenge. He uses betrayal as a lesson, loss as leverage, insult as instruction. He collects every scar and turns them into armor, because his ego is not a balloon, it's a blade. sharpened by pain, guided by silence. You must stop explaining yourself. The more you explain, the more you give away. The more you justify, the more you lose power. Silence is control, distance is clarity, and presence, when chosen carefully, is dominance. The prince inside, you must study people, not to please them, but to predict them. Their words are noise, their patterns are data. Study how they react, study what they chase, study what they fear. Because once you know how they move, you can move 2 steps ahead. When you walk away from drama, they'll say you're afraid. When you win without noise, they'll say it was luck. When you no longer need validation, they'll call you a narcissist. Let them talk. That's all they can do. While they waste breath, you build empires. Control your emotions, or be controlled by someone who does. That is the prince's law. You can cry in silence, but you lead with steel. You can feel deeply, but you move strategically. That is not suppression. That is discipline. And discipline is what separates leaders from the forgotten. He watches. That's the first skill. The ability to be silent in a room full of noise. To let people show you who they are, instead of telling them who you are. That's how the prince operates. Quietly, observantly. You think people listen to power. But first, power listens to them. Ego isn't shouting. It's not performance. It's not insecurity masquerading as pride. It's deeper. It's knowing who you are so completely that you don't flinch when someone doubts you, that you don't shake when the room turns cold. That's not arrogance. That's internal sovereignty. People follow those who don't flinch. Why? Because they want to feel safe. The prince gives people what they crave: order, certainty, direction. But to do that, he must first master himself. If he can't control his own emotions, his mind is someone else's territory. You've been told to be vulnerable, that showing weakness makes you human. And it does to predators. The wrong people exploit softness, and the world has more wolves than saints. If you show your throat too often, someone will bite. The prince does not reveal his pain. He builds a kingdom around it. You must understand the game being played. People say one thing and mean another. They call it professionalism, tact, social skills, but it's strategy. And those who fail to understand it are used by those who do. The prince reads beneath the words. He hears the motive beneath the compliment. He sees the knife behind the smile. To dominate, you don't need to be louder. You need to be smarter. Every fool can talk. Few can think. Silence is power because it forces the other side to reveal themselves first. The prince uses silence like a blade, carefully, intentionally, and always with a purpose. Most people are desperate to be understood. That desperation is a crack, a leak in their armor. The prince has no such leak. He doesn't seek to be understood. He seeks to understand. While others explain, he gathers. While others confess, he calculates. While others chase, he positions. The moment you need someone's approval to feel good about yourself, you've given them the keys to your kingdom. Now they own your peace, your confidence, your energy. The prince gives no one that power. He is self-fed, self-driven, self-governed. People will try to guilt you into submission. They'll say you've changed, that you've become selfish, that you don't care. Of course you've changed. That's the goal. Of course you're selfish. That's survival. Of course you don't care about things that weaken you. Ego is not the enemy. Blind ego is. Unchecked ego. Ego that refuses feedback, refuses growth, refuses pain. But the prince's ego is forged in reflection. It listens, adapts, strengthens, and then it acts swiftly, cleanly, unapologetically. Every relationship is a negotiation of power. The prince knows this, even in love, in friendship, in business. Someone is leading, someone is yielding. And the moment you forget that, you begin to serve. The prince never forgets. He may bend, but only to launch. He may yield, but only to strike. You must stop waiting to be chosen. No one is coming to crown you. No one is waking up thinking, how do I give him what he wants? You take it strategically, intelligently, ruthlessly, not with noise, but with precision. The more detached you become from needing validation, the clearer your mind becomes, the sharper your decisions, the stronger your presence. That's the prince's posture. Cool, deliberate, unmoved, not cold but composed. They'll tell you to be nice, to be liked, to keep peace, but peace without power is a prison. The prince creates peace through strength. He doesn't ask for calm. He enforces it, not through violence, but through presence. And presence is built through identity. Know who you are, and the world will know it too. The greatest mistake you can make is trying to be liked by everyone. That's how kings fall. That's how power is diluted. The prince doesn't care if he's liked, only that he's respected, because fear lasts longer than love. Respect cuts deeper than praise. Never underestimate the power of distance. When you're always available, always explaining, always present, you become ordinary. But when you pull back, when you become rare, you gain gravity. The prince understands this. He doesn't beg to be seen. He disappears and they notice. Your enemy is not failure, it's distraction. The world is full of noise, chaos, opinions. The prince filters all of it. He asks one thing: does this help me win? If not, it dies. No sentiment, no debate. If it doesn't serve the mission, it's gone. People waste their lives trying to win arguments. The prince doesn't argue, he observes. He knows winning a debate doesn't mean winning power. Power isn't loud. It's quiet influence, quiet control, the ability to move people without them realizing it. You don't build empires by asking permission. You build by deciding, by becoming the kind of person who doesn't ask if he's worthy. He decides he is, and then proves it. The prince acts first, asks last, because the only approval he needs is his own. You'll be underestimated. That's your weapon. Let them think you're weak. Let them assume you're slow. And then when you strike, make sure it's decisive. The prince doesn't warn, he wins. He doesn't announce, he arrives. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you claim, what you build, what you strategize for. If you want a kingdom, you must take it, piece by piece, day by day, through discipline, vision, silence, and execution, while others entertain themselves, numb themselves, waste themselves. The prince refines himself, in thought, in posture, in speech. He's not trying to impress, he's trying to evolve. Every interaction is either a tool or a trap. Every choice, either strength or softness. They told you ego is dangerous, but they never told you the truth. The world is run by egos, not the loud ones, the strategic ones, the ones that know how to sit in silence and still control the room. You think being humble will save you. No, it just makes you forgettable. You think being nice will open doors. No, it just makes you easy to ignore. The people who win, they don't ask for permission. They don't explain their ambition. They move in shadows, strike with precision, and vanish before you even realize you were played. Your ego isn't the problem. Your fear is. The fear of being judged. The fear of standing alone. The fear of being powerful. Kill the fear, sharpen the ego, and walk like the throne already belongs to you. If you're done playing small, subscribe. We're not here to fit in. We're here to take control. You don't show your value by talking about it. You show it by becoming undeniable. That means work when no one's watching. That means sharpening when others are sleeping. That means becoming so clear, so unshakable, that people can't ignore your presence. There is no crown without solitude, no strength without sacrifice. The prince understands this. While others run from silence, he sits in it. While they chase comfort, he prepares for war. Not the kind with swords, but the kind waged in boardrooms, relationships, decisions, and every glance exchanged in the dark. He doesn't ask for easy days. He asks for clarity. He doesn't ask for less pressure. He asks for sharper vision. The world is chaos, and he is order, because ego, properly forged, becomes the eye in the storm. A calm so deep, people begin to orbit around it. They'll keep testing you, with words, with silence, with betrayal, and every time, you'll have a choice. React like the old version of yourself, or respond like the prince you've built. Emotion is instinct. Strategy is evolution. Choose evolution. You can't be a prince in public if you're a peasant in private. Your habits, your thoughts, your rituals, these build your throne. What you tolerate alone is what you become outside. The prince wins first in the shadows. That's where empires are carved, quietly, hour by hour. The world remembers the bold, but only if the bold are smart. You can charge the hill like a fool and be forgotten, or you can study the hill, control the ground, and rise when no one expects it. That's not luck, that's ego channeled. You are not owed anything. but you can take everything, not by demand, but by design. You don't walk into life like a guest, you walk in like it's yours, because the prince knows, if you act small, you become small. But if you act like a ruler, the world begins to shift. Your words must mean something. Every sentence a tool, every silence a move. Speak less, mean more. That's how you build power. People are drowning in noise. Be the one who only speaks when it cuts. Then, when you talk, the room listens. Never confuse popularity with strength. Many are loved, few are respected, and fewer still are feared. The prince doesn't chase applause, he chases advantage. There is no honor in being liked if it costs you your edge. Be feared if you must, be loved if it serves you, but always be in control. You'll be accused of being cold, but cold is better than burned. You'll be called ruthless, but ruthlessness is what cuts through noise. You'll be called obsessed, but obsession is the root of all legacy. The prince doesn't flinch at judgment, he rewrites it. Ego isn't thinking you're better than everyone. It's knowing you don't need to prove it. That quiet conviction is rare, and when people see it, they feel it. Some are drawn to it, others are threatened by it, but no one forgets it. When the time comes, you will move, not in panic, not in rage, but with precision, with timing, with force. Because the prince doesn't move often, but when he does, everything around him changes. Remember this, you were not born to bow, you were not born to chase. You were not born to explain yourself endlessly, to wait, to wonder, to beg. You were born to build, to dominate your space, to own your mind. That is your birthright. So protect your energy, speak with intent, move like a king, think like a general, and never forget who you are. Because the moment you do, the world will write your story for you, and that story will make you small. You write your own legend, with your decisions, with your actions, with your ego, not as your master, but as your sword. If this message woke something up in you, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, share this with someone building their own kingdom. We're not here to be average. We're here to rise, quietly, ruthlessly, completely. The prince within you is watching.